with guns. And he was also talking, which I thought was pretty funny, about putting the as far as sports betting inside Belmont Park. Could you imagine a crowd of, say, whatever you want, let's say Jet and Patriots fans, and these are guys that have wagered big money sitting next to each other. Could you imagine the fights that are going to break out? And now all of a sudden you got this, you got Don Knotts with a 6-shooter, and these guys are spraying all over the place. And it's like, oh my, and again, by the time New York City Police Department gets there, the fight is over. But I love people with grand plans that really have never.
Well, where are we talking? Where do you want to? I guess it would be Nassau County, wouldn't it be? If it's Belmont, where would you say, Aqueduct?
Well, it is state land, but it does fall under the province of Nassau County. Yeah. But I don't think one of the guys wants to, ruin $130,000 a year.
130? What's that? A rookie?
The crossing guard.
Exactly. Who up until 5 years ago got full post pay pension and benefits post retirement. Yep.
Yeah, and that's just like, and he was just. And then the icing on the cake was, well, if they do close Aqueduct, and Chris, I've said to you for over a decade, you can't close because Belmont Park, the sun sets behind it. And if you actually had racing in the winter, those horses, when they hit the top of the stretch, would need ice skates. Because, like I said, it's just nobody thinks. Everybody's got grand plans.
But the weird thing, does Aqueduct look at anything? Is there any water over there?
Jamaica Bay is.
Yeah, great. There you go. Some oil. The thing about, cause that's where they dump their fuel in the Flushing Bay, and that's where your planes dump their fuel. The thing about Aqueduct, it's got a lot of land, so it would be great for condos and whatever, but there's nothing to look at, so you're not going to get high-priced condos over there.
You can almost touch when you're out there, you can almost touch the planes coming down.
Right. Yeah, so you're not going to... Great. But actually, you know what? Anywhere in Nassau County these days, you can touch the planes. They're so low. It's unbelievable.
My point is, you have 12 horses out there, and all of a sudden, a 747 or whatever comes over the top.
Yeah.
You have to have an air traffic controlman on the track.
Left. Yeah, no, it's stuff like.
Well, they'll learn to work those orange flashlights.
Yeah. Again, Mark Dukowski.
I'll have you know, Mark uses a mag light.
Yeah. Now, let me tell you one thing, though. When I went to that Bird Bath and Beyond, that was one of the hardest working young men I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, the guy works 5 different jobs.
Yeah, I mean, as they're walking in with returns, he's got to put an orange tag on it. And as they're walking out, he's got to check packages with receipts. And, of course, I'm standing there, but, just keep talking. No, he really does bust his tail feathers over there.
There was a story the other day that, I think it's Bird Bath and Beyond, they'll be taking the unused Toys R Us gift cards. Well, I'll see when I believe it, but supposedly we'll see. Or honoring them anyway.
What's the biggest mistake Toys R Us made? Or Kids R Us or whatever they are.
Oh,
when I go past that Apple store on the Miracle Mile, they let the people actually touch and handle this stuff.
Right.
If they let these kids, touch the toys in the store, the parents say, "Oh, let's get out of here. He likes it. Let's put it in the package. Let's take it home."
Well, which was the magic of the circus? Another thing that doesn't exist anymore. That you'd go in the stands. And the people selling the stuff, the flashlights, whatever, they would put it in the kid's hand. Mm-hmm. And I remember because I had my Uncle Austin, who was a Marine, NYPD, all that kind of stuff, tough guy, was like one time they did that and they said, okay, that'll be whatever. He goes, no, you take it. You put it in my kid's hand. You take it out. It's like that kind of thing. It's like they put it in the hand because the parents say, okay, but not Uncle Austin. But...
I love roadies. They're the best.
Roadies and Carnies. That's Nick's new album title.
Yeah.
And then they
coming to a store near you.
It's dropping on Tuesday,
2018.
And we have a couple of those carnivals and stuff like that. And the mountain women they bring with them are just darling. Let me tell you.
Well, I love when they have these. Usually June and July is church carnival time out here, and it's like you have a choice. It's like, do you want to use our guys or do you want to use your parishioners? And you can always tell who's. and sometimes they intermingle them. So it's like, all right, you can tell the parishioners who's working the Zeppeli thing, and then the person who's like, come on, I'll give you your first ball's free. Come on, man, come on. While they're stepping on the thing that makes the ball not. Bounce out until you go, then the ball bounces out. So
nothing like funnel cake or a deep fried Oreo.
Yeah,
something I've never tasted. I'm sorry.
Are you kidding me?
Oh
my God!
40 pounds. The last thing I need is extra cargo.
Oh, listen, man.
I'm and I'm standing right there when they're cooking them.
I was at San Gennaro's, and they were deep frying Oreos, and deep frying Twinkies, and I'm like, that's the bridge too far. I cannot have a
deep fried Milky Ways, deep fried Reese's, deep fried. I saw a guy deep fry a chocolate chip pancake. Not kidding.
Wow.
I saw something the other day that was kind of interesting. As I was watching Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, which was my first mistake. But there was a guy, he was a chef, and he had the deep fryer, and he threw basil in it. And you know what happens when you throw when you throw
wilting,
when you throw it does. You know what happens? Fireworks. Pop 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 pop. It pops. That was kind of cool.
Really?
Yeah. So if you throw basil, so don't this is not for trying purposes at home, kids. But if you put if you happen to have a deep fryer in your house, unless you live in McDonald's, I don't know.
This is a public service announcement against basil. And
if you do have a deep fryer, I'd love to come to your house. 'Cause that'd be really cool. But
and his mom is frying, and the kids are getting too close. I told you to stand away. Okay, you're not going to listen.
It's like you want to keep your daughter off the pole and your kid off the fryer, right? Basically, that's what you want to do. Cool.
Tim Tebow hit the first home run today.
What was he in AAA? What level?
No, Double A.
He's Double A.
He was
Double A.
He was at the Rumble Ponies.
He is so ready.
With that home run though.
Is it September yet?
He did move to number one as the Met prospect. They have nothing down there, guys. I'm sorry.
No, they really don't. You're right. They cleaned out. All their prospects are up, and most of them aren't any good.
You know what? If he does, he should come back to the NFL because then he'll be celebrated for taking a knee, right? As opposed to the other guys.
No. Again,
The Rock. Did you see The Rock spoke out that if he was playing in the NFL, he would take a knee. That's what The Rock said. Of course, The Rock didn't make the NFL, and he has to play a fake thing. But okay.
Did he ever try? I don't remember him trying.
Yeah, he was a linebacker in Miami, so he was draft eligible.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if he ever got drafted.
You don't play for the U and not try to make a team. So he did try out. So
I know Lesnar got signed to the Vikings at one point, but I don't know if The Rock ever actually got a practice squad invite or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, yeah. I remember when I was a kid, there were all these dads who always talked about that they had played. Yeah, I was in the St. Louis Browns organization. I'm like, oh, really? A baseball team that doesn't exist anymore, and there was no internet, so you couldn't look it up. So it's like, oh, really, Daddy, really, or really, Mr. Jones, you played. Yeah, I was in the Browns organization, but my knee, or it was a numbers game, it was a number game. Okay, it's like,
let me tell you, son, I drove the bus.
Nowadays, you couldn't even. It's what game was that? Let me look that up. Because they have who played, who didn't play. It's okay. Yeah, sure. I'd love to know. Were you worried?
Like the Bad News Bears with Coach Buttermaker. Yeah. Other than that, I'll get back to you later. But I love the fact that OBJ is totally irrelevant. I'll go with you.
There goes Dave from Franklin Square. There's a line that George Young, the old GM of the Giants, used to say, "What is said in March is forgotten in September." And that's what's going to happen. That's what's said in March. And if OBJ holds out, I think he's got $9 million coming to him or something like that. If he holds out and doesn't play, he doesn't get paid because you have to set foot on the field for that last year to count. So if he holds out, the next year starts and it's as if it didn't exist, like being left back in school kind of thing. So he'd still be subject to that contract. So he's not going to get what he wants.
Miami Hurricanes, for The Rock we're talking, national championship 91. When an injury sidelined him, he was replaced by future NFL star Warren Sapp.
Yeah.
Warren Sapp.
Yeah. No, that is a great narrative to give. Yeah. Warren Sapp was replacing him, injury or no injury. Warren Sapp was replacing The Rock.
Yeah, it does not look like he ever, that was it.
Yeah. Because that was my era, because Notre Dame and Miami were big, and I had a friend on the Miami team the first year, and he wound up transferring to Stanford and got out of there. But that was very interesting. Where he did 7 years at Stanford, got his MBA, all while playing because he was recruited. In fact, he's the kid who convinced me to go to Notre Dame. Ellie Roberts was his name. He had been he committed to Hayden Fry at the University of Iowa, who was the coach back then. And then Jimmy Johnson made a personal visit to our high school, and Jimmy Johnson convinced him to go to Miami. And Ellie went down to Miami. They had 40 freshmen. Ellie was the only kid who wasn't redshirted. The only freshman wasn't redshirted, which was kind of stupid because everyone else got redshirted and he didn't. So he played. But Ellery, his dad was an editor. His dad was a PhD, was an editor of Newsday. His mom was a master's with a nurse. He was not like the other kind of players at the U, and they made fun of him unmercilessly. Called him we can imagine what they called an African American player who wasn't like them, came from a rich background, nice background, things like that. So he got out of Miami as fast as possible, but he lost a year of eligibility because of that year.
Yep.
So then he transferred to Stanford, which is smart, and he had to sit out that next year. Which is a bizarre rule, right? Which is his sophomore academically year. So he went to school at Stanford that year. Then junior year, I'm trying to think because I saw him. They played us junior or senior year because we did a home and away with them, and so we hung out. My friends came in. We hung out with him before when he played at Notre Dame that day, and then on the third play of the game, you hear a crash, a broken leg.
Oh my God!
The whole stadium, and it's his. Oh. It's his broken leg. So now he's a medical redshirt because that was just 3 minutes of a game. The medical redshirt. Then he graduates academically from Stanford, but he still has 3 more years left
of eligibility. That's awesome.
He broke his leg again. It was hilarious. So I remember I'm watching. I'm 25, 26. I've been working for 4 years on Wall Street, and there's Ellie Roberts playing running back at 26 or 27 for Bill Wall. I'm like, how the hell is he playing? We graduated from high school 10 years ago. And it's
that's craziness.
Yeah. And that was Miami. Miami had this kicker named Carlos Huerta who kicked there forever. It's Carlos Huerta probably has a family by now, and he's playing kicker. 516-572-7440, 516-572-7440. That's the number to call. Would love to hear what's on your mind. Cameron Monagora, Nick Ornberger, Chris Muldoon here, taking you in for the next hour and 18 commercial-free minutes until 11 o'clock with FM Punk with Riley. Don't forget this Saturday morning, the Marathon Piano Man show. I will have 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. right here on 90.3. So we'll have some special guests. We'll have some giveaways, but we'll be asking for donations. And it's our fundraising efforts. We here on Sports Talk will have our fundraising show 2 weeks from tonight. So April 19th will be our fundraising show. So if you don't donate on Saturday morning, we'd love to have you donate on Thursday, April 19th, where we'll go for 3 hours from 9 p.m. to midnight on April 19th. So next week's April 12th. I won't be here. I'll be across the street at Eisenhower Park, but these guys will be holding on for it next week. But April 19th will be our fundraising show. 516-572-7440, 516-572-7440. So, the basketball. Are the Toronto, KJ Brooks, who used to be here, now has
ripped him. His boy Kyrie is out for the rest of the season.
Crazy.
I remember when the season, before the season started, and when the season started, and the Celtics were doing so well. It's they're going to be the number 1 seed. They're going to be the number 1. That's all we ever heard from him.
Hayward.
Look who the number 1 seed is going to be from the East.
The Raptors.
Toronto Raptors.
But none of this matters.
Right.
This is never going to matter. Everybody, and you know what? There is a lot of talk about this.
It's just a precursor for.
But it happens the same way every year, and even if they don't finish first in seeding, which they usually do, the Cavs or whatever team that LeBron plays for at the time are just going to steamroll everybody in the playoffs, and they're going to be in the finals again, and there's not a darn thing anybody can do about it.
I want to know what kind of game where Kevin Love's going to be a hero and everyone's going to say, look, he and LeBron play together so well. It's yeah, they don't. But and then I guess Portland has put up a billboard for LeBron, which is kind of weird because he's not going to Portland.
He's not going to Portland.
So, they got a rich owner, but he's not going to Portland.
And anybody with and anybody in this area with any hopes at all, Nets or Knicks, come on, let's not even breach that subject. He's going somewhere either very warm and palatable to his media attention.
Correct. L.A.
There you go. Back to Miami. Not out of the cards. I don't think so. But I also think that Pat Riley probably has some sourness down there still. I don't know if that's a bridge that's been mended. Or a team that is going to make him... that
San Antonio,
yeah.
or a super team that's already built.
Kawhi's gone.
Here's an idea.
Oklahoma
City, you could envision the 76ers. I could see it happening. With all these guys getting healthy now, they
got a great team, and it's not far from
now with
home.
Fultz and Simmons and Embiid. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's off the map.
I can't believe that Philadelphia has become a title town this year. Right?
Isn't that insane?
Football with the Eagles, college basketball with Villanova, which. Was an odd kind of game because Dante, whatever his name is, winds up being the star off the bench, and now the Sixers are doing well. Sixers aren't going to win it all, but they're doing well.
A lot better now.
Are the Flyers doing anything?
I think they might barely reach the playoffs.
And
that's a good year.
But you don't
all your major teams
kind of
make it.
odd.
Philly suck.
And the second wild card spot right now.
NBA playoffs, usually like the 7th and 8th team, one's 500 or below 500. There are teams in one of the conferences, I'm not sure which one it is offhand, but is going to have a winning record in the NBA and not make the playoffs.
That's in the West, and that's going to be